Good afternoon. Welcome to the 2024 Hot Off the Press Fashion Show. We are so excited to have you here today. What you are about to watch has been a long collaborative effort between our designers and our promotion team, with a special treat with featured designers that will be showcasing their collections. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. For the next time you see these designs, they may just be in vogue. This is Hot Off the Press.
I would say a subculture in Japan called gyarus or koga. It initially started as something of making a uniform to make it fashionable enough for girls to wear outside of school. So I thought of translating that into the American public school system. Getting ideas for new collections can be a little bit complicated, but I usually just have a day where I sketch a bunch of stuff and I just see what works together. Sometimes I'll mix and match or clash it, and I hope it sticks together. I would say probably a piece that sticks out the most in my collection would be my pleated skirt with the knockers, just because I used to wear them a lot when I was in public school in elementary. So I feel like it's a little sentimental to my childhood. My design aesthetic is a little bit all over the place. I think I usually get a lot of inspiration from music or TV shows I like, but I feel like at the heart of it, it usually is something to do with girlhood and being feminine. My collection having personal inspiration, I think it would probably be my childhood, especially my father. I feel like he always stressed the importance of looking the best when you go to school, even though I wore a uniform. So I feel like him dressing me every day kind of influenced my style, or just my collection in general. I think if I had to do another collection, it couldn't be this one. I would probably do it inspired by 20s golden age Mexican cinema. I would do the really big dresses. I think that would be fun to take. I feel like my collection connects with me because I feel like it kind of expresses how I grew up, or I see little parts of myself or my cousins in it, and just the inspiration of wearing uniforms and maybe the funny memories we have with them.
wake up and my favorite thing to do is put on an outfit and decide what am I going to wear today. Everything that I wear in my just like daily life are things that it's like how I'm feeling in the morning. So I wake up and how am I feeling, and that's the clothes that I put on. And if it doesn't feel good, then I won't wear it. Ever since I was a little kid, I loved fashion, and I used to go up to people and tell them that I liked their necklaces and their earrings. And if you ask anybody in my family or even family friends, they'll tell you, oh, when you were a little kid, you used to tell me, oh, I like your necklace, it matches your earrings. And so ever since I was a little kid, it was one of my favorite things. My biggest inspiration for my collection was my grandfather. He passed away in October, and he was one of my best friends, and I was very close with him. So he kind of sparked this inspiration for me. I'm taking traditional Lebanese clothing while also giving it a Lebanese 70s vibe to it and kind of modernizing that into today clothing. So that is how I kind of took all of my inspirations and put them all together. Some of the challenges that I've faced during my collection are that because it's completely crocheted, it's whatever I'm making is the final garment. So I have to be very careful about the measurements and about how it's going to fit my models. The piece that means the most to me will actually be the outfit that I'm wearing. When my grandfather first saw my cardigan that I made, he asked to see it. So I had brought it down for him, and he told me to make one exactly like it, but all white. So I'll be making myself one of those to wear.
are koi fish and lily pads, and just like water in general. I just wanted to evoke the feeling of just playing in the pond as a kid, basically. I think that this print and this fabric that I'm using is very sentimental to me, as it really encompasses who I am as a fashion student, and it's using techniques that I've learned from all the way back in high school, and just like combining it with like techniques that I've learned like last semester and throughout my career as a fashion student. For me, my biggest influence is Sandy Liang. It's just rare to see like Asian American women just in design in general, and I feel like we both have the same inspiration. We have like, she pulls her inspiration off of like girlhood and nostalgia, and I take my inspiration off of nostalgia. Like, just with all the work I do, I feel like I sort of like I just look up to her. So originally, I wasn't a fashion major. I've been at COD this is my 4th year. For the first 2 years, I was a culinary major, majoring in baking and pastry arts. I changed my major just because I just think I couldn't be creative enough in the major that I was doing. And I was already creating garments on my own, just through crochet, knitting, and I was thinking like maybe I can create a career out of that. I didn't know you can create a career out of that. I'm a very big illustrator. I love illustrating. I feel like I can push a bunch of sketches out like really quickly. I think that was my favorite part of the process, but also just making that process come to life and like sewing that and just being able to know how to pattern it or just make prints for everything. I feel like that's really fun.
collection is inspired by the feeling of imposter syndrome. The way I like to put it is like the infinite staircase of arts. The feeling that like what I'm doing is pointless, you know, like at the end of the day, why does any of this matter? But in a sense that kind of gives it meaning because I have the freedom then to do whatever I want if nothing matters. A big inspiration for my collection is the Greek myth of Sisyphus. So in a nutshell, it is a man who was cursed by the gods to push a boulder up a hill for eternity, and as soon as the boulder reached the top of the hill, it would fall all the way back down. So it's kind of that infinite treadmill, the infinite cycle of perpetual motion. I'd say my biggest influences in terms of designers are probably Peter Doe, Tom Brown, Alexander McQueen. Again, all of those designers do a lot with traditional menswear, but make it exciting. Tom Brown specifically does a lot of really wearable pieces for, you know, department stores and the consumer market, but his runways are very conceptual, very wild. And that's kind of what I'd like to do with my career. I think the silhouettes are very interesting. I think my use of textiles in unique ways is something that I haven't really seen before. One of my pieces is a full organza suit, which I don't think I've ever seen anyone do. And I think my two women's wear looks reinterpret menswear in a very interesting way. The androgyny of my collection is very exciting for me. I think going forward as an industry, we should be looking towards androgynous fashion. I don't even know if it's my dream to be a designer. Again, that's kind of where the inspiration for the collection and like the feeling of imposter syndrome comes from. I question that almost every day, but I know I want to do something in the industry. I really enjoy styling. I really enjoy merchandising. And at times I really enjoy designing. You know, fashion is my life. Art is my life. And no matter what, I want to be immersed in that world.
The concept for my collection is weeping willows because I love like how flowy the trees are. They're very structured in their base, but then at the top it just kind of all like flows down, and I love the look of it. This collection was inspired by willows because there was one outside of my childhood home next to my like childhood playground, and I always would look at it and like watch the branches and wish that I could like swing on them. My favorite piece in my collection would probably be the tree bark patterning hand sewn onto the tops because of like the texture that you get out of it. I would say it's like flowy, big sleeves, big pants, feminine, but also like structured, like denim with like boning in the tops and stuff. I'd say the most challenging thing about the collection is probably just taking all of the ideas you have from your concept and just like making them all fit together in 6 outfits only, and also finding the perfect fabric for each concept. I was inspired by just being tall and not being able to find clothes that fit me, and thinking like there have to be other tall women that are experiencing this right now, and just wanting to like make clothes for them. I just like wearing what makes me happy, and I like experimenting with wearing clothes, you know, wearing like a shirt as a skirt, or just like, you know, just looking at clothes as not just one thing. I'd say don't look at the big picture. Baby steps. If you look at the big picture, then you're going to be like crying in a corner. But if you focus on just one small thing, then when you accomplish that, you start to get excited, and then you just start to like complete everything so much faster. I'd say my favorite part is just like seeing the outfits come together on the models and like on the mannequins, and seeing like my classmates' collections come together, and like the anticipation of finally seeing it walk.
My overall theme that I was going for was creating a workwear collection with origami like aspects like put into it. I would say my biggest influence at the moment is Issei Miyake. I recently discovered him. It was actually when I completed my draping final that I heard about him. I heard about him after that. And what I learned from him is that there was already people blending origami with fashion, and I didn't even know. So when I found out someone else was doing that, I looked into his work, and I was just blown away by the extent that these two worlds can be taken to. So I thought, why not put my spin on it? When it came to designing this collection in particular, I would play a lot with paper, doing different types of folds, pleating patterns, and like I mentioned, I felt like if it could be done on paper, then it could also be done on fabric. And the silhouettes behind this collection were inspired by standard workwear silhouettes, so like jeans, vests, jackets. But what I like to do when I design is I like to take one aspect or more of standard designs and change it so that it looks completely different. Like you can't even tell that it's based off of like just a standard silhouette. One of the biggest challenges that I encountered during the creation of this collection is it's not as easy as making origami is, because it's one thing to fold paper, which is paper for the most part, it's flat and you can fold it however you want to, but fabric doesn't necessarily behave the same way as paper does. So it was a challenge to find the correct fabrics to use and to be able to just work with it the way I wanted to.
overall theme behind my collection is based on Rococo architecture. I'm a really big fan of the intricate, ornate stylings of, those churches and like chapels, and I really wanted to bring that aesthetic into my collection. My fashion background is costumes, specifically cosplay. I like to do cosplay in my free time. I wanted to learn through fashion the correct way to sew instead of like hot gluing all my seams and making a big mess of everything. So I wanted to pursue fashion, making cosplay a little bit more professional. So I wanted to kind of combine the best of both worlds and make them into one. I get ideas from pretty much everywhere. I look at my peers' work, I see like what's going on, outside. I try to get inspiration from about everything. Honestly, if I weren't doing the Rococo theme, I would be going all 80s. I absolutely love and adore the 80s and just the music, the movies, everything about it. So I'd probably do something 80s themed. I am a really big fan of the brand Selkie and the gowns that they make, and that's the inspiration that I took from them. It's those big puffy sleeves and those circular skirts. I just love big and floofy, so I wanted to include that in my collection as well. I want to bring something that's a little bit different to the plate. I know I personally myself like to do things a little bit differently, so I wanted to bring a different aesthetic that hasn't been seen in a while, bring it back rather. So, yeah.
My design aesthetic, I think, is very feminine. I like to really appreciate like the female body in my designs and accentuate like curves and everything that like makes women beautiful. I think my biggest challenge for creating this collection has been trying to make it cohesive. It's kind of hard. There's almost like a mourning process when you realize that you can't put absolutely everything that you love into a collection. You have to make it consistent and make it look unified. My mom has been the fashion queen of my life, and she is definitely the reason why I love fashion so much. She kept almost everything from when she was in her 20s, all her awesome vintage clothes, and kept them in her closet until I grew up and then I started raiding her clothes. The hardest part so far has been narrowing down like a theme for the collection. I started out with almost like 4 themes, I think, that I was trying to fit into a collection, and then slowly, painfully realized that was not going to work and I had to settle on one thing. If I couldn't do this idea, I think I would want my next collection to be something more like punk. Like I would want to do darker fabrics and maybe like harsher edges rather than like the kind of flow that I have going on in this collection. My biggest influence in the fashion industry, I feel like it's hard to pick one, but definitely some of my top ones are like Roberto Cavalli, Balmain, and Vivienne Westwood. I love their aesthetics, and I know that they don't necessarily match each other, but I love a bit of like everything that they do.
garment I ever made was the button-down collared shirt. I feel like it's very sentimental to me. It connects to me like through the whole bridal part and the like wedding planning process. And I also wanted to combine a little bit of my childhood into it. I grew up listening to country music, and I also grew up in Manhattan. And every time I say I'm from Manhattan, everybody's like, "Oh, Manhattan, New York?" No, Manhattan, Illinois. It's just a small country town, like surrounded by cornfields. I took elements from like the Western lifestyle, and I took denim, and I'm putting that together with like lace and just other bridal fabrics. I would say my design aesthetic is timeless, charming, and youthful. I find myself looking up to fashion influencers or celebrities. Someone in particular would probably be Emma Chamberlain or Sophia Richie, and a lot of my ideas come from Pinterest. I like to go on my feed, and every time I see something I like, I will put it to my design board, and then every time I need to create a garment, I'll resort back to that same board. I think my favorite part is seeing all my ideas in my head, or all the garments that I made up in my head come to life. So it's just like a constant process, and I just keep going at it.
and concept behind my collection would be t-shirts. So I've worked at a t-shirt warehouse since I've been going to COD for about 5 years now. It takes a little bit longer than everyone says it does, but this has been like a culmination of like my whole life till now. I get a lot of inspiration from art and just my life in general and like everything I see around the world or around my world. My design aesthetic, I think everyone should be able to wear my clothes. I think everybody should be able to wear any clothes, and I also really like things to be comfortable. So the less comfortable it is, the less likely I'm gonna wear it. So if I won't wear it, then why would you wear it? So I'm involved with theater a lot and or the costume aspect behind the scenes. So I enjoy all the things that you can make and how clothing really, how it tells a story. I would like to go into costume design when I complete my degree here. I will have to go to do a little bit more schooling after that, but I'm really excited to see what stories I can tell and how I can stretch all of the materials and be as sustainable as possible while making all my ideas come true. The first garment I ever made was in my sophomore year of high school. I took sewing classes in high school too, and I made a pair of pink pajama pants with green whales on them, and I still have them to this day. I love them so much. I wouldn't say there was one piece that stands out to me the most. They're all very sentimental to me because I worked at this t-shirt warehouse, and I'm using all the old t-shirts from there, and I'm using all the skills that I have now. So it's my life story, and I love it.